Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carlos. I'm from the biology department, and I'm also working with the team that trying to set up a functioning online degree program. And I think, well, have a contradiction. I feel that everything has been said, and there's so much else to be said, right? Especially at the beginning, the introductory chat. Cover so many topics that I think are going to overlap with what I'm going to try to go over. So the title is, Assess Learning, Not Cheating, Refocusing on Best Practices in the AI era using the video, please. And before I kind of go to the point, I want to share with you some data that we got with this survey in November about the use of AI in here at DCC. So we have a very large number of students with funding. So just the background, it kind of confirms what you sort of know, but just to really concentrate on our student population. So we asked lots of questions. I just want to share a couple of things. We ask how often do you use AI for schoolwork? Is it here in BCC? And we'll do the asterisk because this is in November 25, right? So I feel like, I don't know if it's a joke or if it's to be sad, because I feel it's so updated, right? It's 5 months. And I don't know how this is now, right? It's a pretty good picture of how this was in November 25, because we have like almost 800 students answering the survey. We have like 6,500 students per campus, so more than 10%. It's very, consistent in terms of the demographics too, in terms of ages, in terms of how many students take online versus in person versus a combination of both. So, you just a pretty good idea. And again, not to dwell into the detail, but roughly speaking, we see that about 35%, let me go back. So we have 4 categories, at least once per week, at least one per day, at least once per week, at least once per month, but not every week, and never. Right? Those are the four groups that we've asked students to study. So roughly speaking, we have like 35% of students, if we add this, like roughly speaking, right? 35% that are sort of heavy users, at least once per week or once a day. And then we have between 33 and 43% that never use. We asked about schoolwork. I hope they read that, they focused on that, but we have a diverse approach. And we have a group of explorers that are between 20 and 27% that are using like once a month. One last thing about here, I said 35%, except this group. The students under 18, it is 45% of them are heavy users. These are the ones that are coming, entering our community. So we have to have that in mind for everything we do, I guess. Not to mean that the ones are going to keep coming, but the new generation. We ask. Okay, I just share a few things, but we also ask them to say classes are taking. So group them in students that take all in-person classes versus all online. The heavy users are about the same. This is like how much is that? 34, right? 34 and 34 to the same, right? For heavy users. The difference is that in person, of course, they use ARX, which sort of makes sense, right? We also asked, by the way, I wasn't going to say this, but first of all, what have you talked today? We also asked them how much you trust AI, right? And the ones online are the ones that trusted the least. The ones that discuss with their professors about the use of AI, they are the ones that trusted the least, or at least have more doubts, right? So that's, I hate when we say, I do it all the time, we say students, right? We don't know persons. We do the same, right? We are on the same boat. The approaches that they have, we have, the confusion we have, the decisions we take are sort of, the same. So anyway, last thing about data, I don't want to bombard you on data, but we also ask, how do you use it, right? How you use AI for your schoolwork and explaining difficult concepts, maybe brainstorming ideas, creating study guides, right? Sort of those 3 are the ones that we can do together. we with students or tutors with students or students working together. But they use AI for that, right? Again, these are rough averages. The yellow bands, the yellow bars are the average across our ages. So between 45 and 55% use it for that, which we could do, right? Actually, would yes, sir. So we have another question we ask them is, what would you like to discuss with your professors about the use of AI, right? And one of the things they say, well, we want to know how you use it, et cetera, et cetera. But they also want to discuss the type of pedagogy we use, right? If you teach better, I don't need to, do this with AI, right? So here's a whole bunch of recommendations we got, but I think this is the strongest take-home message. But one thing, going back to the younger generation, is that the blue bar, right? This is kind of similar, whatever. But the major difference, brainstorming ideas, is the average across ages to 46, 70%, right? And if you go to this one, I have one more chart, actually, we don't enough. Writing or editing papers, average is sort of 50%. Look at the group under 18, right? So,
I mean, do you think that explaining difficult concepts is also lower for them? Do you think that's communicating that they're like sort of outsource safe learning a little bit? They like don't use it to help explain stuff; they just use it to do things for them, or
it's a mix. It's hard for that, right? So it's hard for that because we didn't really. Well, we have a humongous amount of data that we didn't finish to analyze. So we have like the open-ended questions, so we can sort of match, these guys, right, with the open-ended questions for the group, but we haven't done that yet. That will make, guys have to answer in that. And was the last chart I promised? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, those are the newest students. I mean, many students start college at 18, but they're definitely the newest students if started at 18. So this can be a trend.
But that's the point. Right? These are the ones that are coming. So we have to be more aware that, that's where we have to have a conversation with them, right? So yeah, you can use it, but let's see how you use it, right? That's the point. So last chart I promise again, we asked them for a whole bunch of things. For each of these categories, whatever. When do you think this is okay, not okay? I don't know. I haven't thought about that, whatever. And I obviously selected these two because this is to write a complete assignment for you, right? And you see, okay, only 5, very small number, and that is okay to do that. This is the most traditional sort of cheating that we associate with, right? I mean, in general, broadly speaking. To answer the question during an exam, right? Only 2% say that that's okay, right? The majority across this whole group of agents say that it's not okay. It's funny, well, I don't know if it's funny, but to write a complete assignment, right? Yeah, let's say 4% average think that it's not okay, but it's not the same question. But if you go to here, writing or editing papers, about 15% in average use it. And in that age group, right, that you have like 4%, 5%, say it's not okay, they still use it. The wording is not exactly the same because it's the writing or the editing papers, but it's kind of close. Anyway, the point is that my point here is that we're not talking, but one of the points in this conversation is the fear about cheating, right? That they cheat and et cetera, et cetera. And there's lots of, I didn't know much about this, but I was looking at some numbers, and it's hard to find a temporal trend because you're comparing high school students, in terms of cheating, right? High school with university, with college, with private. You're comparing, pears with apples, with cucumbers, whatever. So it's very hard, right? But anyway, the trend is like, I don't know how they came up with this. In the references, you can check it. In the 40s, the cheating rate was about 15-20%. And now they see that it's going from 75 to 90%. I don't know if the number is accurate, but there's a trend, right, of an increasing kind of behavior, I would say, of engaging in academic misconduct. And it's funny because you see, again, I use funny, but it's not funny. Use this idea from the literature. When you go to students, you're familiar with Che? This platform that I haven't been following. I don't know if anyone's that helped me here, but this is where students, for example, you can upload your exams, right? So that give you credits, so then you can access the tutor. It's kind of a wiki, it's a tutoring service. It helps students, but it's an excellent tool for cheating, right? So I upload my exams, they give me the answers, and then I think I got the problem, right? But in that side, they do an annual survey, right? And they ask the students, the three main concepts to have about using general tools that are not built specifically for education to support the style. The first concern they have is that, what the AI giving me is wrong. 53%. Second concept for students that I'm not saying all, but many go there to cheat. The second concern is students could use it to cheat. The signal is not just us. Again, going back to students, professors, persons, right? People. We are using it. We know that it may be wrong, and we know that maybe not used ethically in the academic from the academic point of view. So then I feel, I don't know, this is my feeling, that we have kind of this tension, right, between, well, we use it there, right, generative AI and assessment integrity, right? It's sort of this sort of tension, and we came up with lots of alternatives, right, to how to catch cheaters, right, what to do, and this this is pretty new. It's a group, they go over a long list of issues with AI detectors very briefly. This, right? Nothing new. We talk about this, not today, but last 3 years. Security, privacy, right? How the intellectual property is used, what you upload things into AI, etc., etc. The issue that no AI detection system can never achieve 0% false positive rates, because potentially a person can write very well, keeping a style, right? Keeping some sort of, consistency in terms of, paragraphs, etc., etc. So, theoretically, that doesn't work. They put the burden of proof on students, and that's, sure, but they have to prove they haven't cheated. That, that's not how it works, right? We have to have strong indicators, and still, if we have an indicator that is, the AI is matching with their work, if we run it, whatever method we use, it's not the proof, right? So this is tricky territory, right? There's a rigid boundary between human and AI assisted writing, because this contradicts, I just copy and paste and summarize, contradicts the principles of inclusive education, right? Because AI for students that have writing limitations, or even speech limitations, they can use AI like we used to use, text to speech a while ago, right? So even myself, sometimes I want to rephrase something a little better, and I run it through AI. I mean, have I cheated? Well, yes, but no, because I have the idea. It's just that the synonym, right? I like the synonym that AI gave me. That's all. So, and this is a huge one. Students' work is frequently graded with AI, not by AI. And we probably many talks, and in the introduction today, that was brought up that, it's a conversation, right? It's a chatting of our study buddy for many. I know many copy and paste, but, in general, I think my sense is that many use it as a study buddy. It's not like, they just copy paste. And then this is kind of extreme, but it's not that extreme. I'll give you one example with what I said. As exposure to AI generated material becomes increasingly widespread, it is reasonable to expect that the linguistic patterns of human writing will shift, reflecting the influence of AI-assisted text encountered across education, media, and everyday communication. You know what? I use parentheses a lot, which is a very bad way of writing, but I don't know, I just like it. I like it. I hope there's anyone from writing here or literature. I don't know. I'm learning, I like it, I use parentheses a lot. And I know it's not a good method. And I started noticing a while ago that the AI uses, the M dash, the long dash. Mm-hmm. So saying, I want to use this because it's more linguistic. And then I read that AI uses that. So I stopped using it because I was kind of taking, right, an idea from AI, which is fine, I don't see the issue. But I was afraid that when someone read, anyway, I'm not English native, so this right away that what I write, what it is or not written by AI. By the way, it wasn't like a sign, right, of being written by AI. So it's not, if this becomes, it will become more widespread, we're going to start taking those, most frequently used words that the AI use, right? And then we're having lots of other things that we can do, the cameras. This, for me, a freaky thing that they follow your pupils, right? And this is for online, right? Because online, they follow your pupils, and if you're looking like this, then there's a flag. Well, I personally don't like it, but I get it that for some standardized tests, right, for some certifications, you need it, and I totally get it. But as a widespread use, I don't like no cool jobs. All right. So I use this trick and I felt so bad. Have you used it? Anyone use this one? I mean, this is too fancy. Just to put words or stuff in the prompts, not the prompts. Thinking like AI. In the assessment, right? In the instructions on what to do, you put in there some words in white. So when if students that kind of contradict the assignment itself, so when the students copy and paste into the AI kind of gets confused because you are, within the assignment, you say do this, but in white you put words that sort of contradict. Huh? Right. So, I mean, but that's cheating too, right? It's a way of cheating. So anyway, but just to make the point, so we are kind of focusing on this, right? You can run it through, you just ask a question and or run your own assignment on AI, see how it looks, and then compare with the student. But you have here the confirmation bias. When we're looking for things that are similar to AI, not things that may be original. Everything has an issue. And then, of course, the one that makes more sense, that is also important, is that talking about that list. Anyway, but so then I guess one point that is being discussed today and the last 2 years is to focus on assessment integrity, and that dishonesty can distract us from what assessments are for, which is measuring and promoting learning, right? I mean, I'm thinking in having the next slide. Yeah. I'm thinking in refocusing but informative assessment, right? All has to do with low stakes, opportunities for students to learn, and for us to see where are the gaps, right? What we can sort of cover, right? So if we consistently focus on formative assessment, I mean, outsourcing with AI or even with someone else, it wouldn't make sense, because if you do engaging or interesting or like we talked in another conversation, connected with the life of students or with the culture where you're living in or interested in general, whatever. But all those are going to be much stronger motivators for stick to the assessment rather than copying and pasting, right? So I guess to refocus, right? So that's the idea. Want to show you one example very quick. Oh, let's see if it works. I didn't try. If not, I just tell you. Oh yeah, it's good. This is a very quick. I mean, it's very simple. It's nothing new. I show you the history of this, but I'm not trying to feel original. Just to share one thing. Don't let us know. So just an example, one thing I've been experimenting this semester, right? More systematically. The synaptic cleft is the space between two neurons and synapse. It's not tricky. It's just to, they just mentioned this to reinforce that. It's an obvious true answer, but still just to, okay, yeah, I heard that. Yeah, it's true. You see, it's very, nothing fancy. Very, very simple. So Barclay watches. they contain neurotransmitters through electrical potential around the synaptic node, stimulate synaptic vesicles to fuse with the terminal axon membrane and release it. I kind of use sort of like, literally kind of what they say and just to reinforce what they just watched, right? That's all. True. Finally, when you offer neurotransmitter to the postsynaptic neuron may increase or decrease the chance of firing natural potential. So, so the three mechanisms are the ones we just, right? So I just want to video. Right, so you just as a sample, probably go back. Yeah. So just to give you a quick example of one activity I've been trying this semester. I mean, I tried it for years, but very, on and off without doing it systematically. But I started this semester to doing it more systematically. So now I want to play it, but this is a video of someone, it's not me, doing an experiment that, to asking them as the experiment goes on, what's going on, right? And then I also did one myself. Notebook LN, you can upload what I did, for example, is I uploaded my lecture notes on protein synthesis, and then I searched through Notebook LN 3 articles on applications to medicine or to health of, why it's important knowing about protein synthesis. Why do I care, right? So then I got those 3 articles. I gave some guidelines to the system. I wanted to emphasize this and that, and I created a video describing how protein synthesis works, and then why we care, right? We care because we use it for mRNA vaccines, right? Or for antibiotics, whatever. Antibiotics. So then you can do your own. See? By the way, this is coming to me, right? I understand. So, the bad side of this is all presentations look the same. It's kind of boring. The same, use the same scheme, but anyway, if you want to tailor it, right, to something specific that you don't find online, you can do it pretty fast. So, that's what I'm doing now. You can also go and check all the statistics of that. For example, let's see for, question 1, whatever, a certain amount of students answer correct, some incorrect. So then I go back to the class and I say, okay, let's check this, right? Why you think this is this way or the other way? So it gives me the opportunity of going back to formative assessment, not just for them. This has unlimited attempts, so they can take as many times as they want, right? So I can go back to the first attempt and see, because the last one, of course, they prove they all do it right. But the first one, I go back and make sure that the first mistake they got, well, we discuss, right? So that's the formative. Not for them only, but for me too, to see what are mistakes and then, go back and work on that. And then I was, so the idea of the whole process is that I give them a video quiz, right? So they can take it as many times as they want. I do tell them to work together. It's totally, extremely open in every sense. Then we come back. I go back to those answers, and then I give them a video, and I tell them this is going to be on the exam, summative assessment, right? So one of the topics will be protein synthesis. So it's a different video. And I give them this, and then in the exam, the same video, now with the questions comes back. So this is the same thing, but two versions of the same topic, right? They have the chance to practice, to learn, to program with questions, and then it's the summative assessment, right? So I'm sort of trying this semester. And of course, I haven't, I mean, this has been around for years. I was curious about this, right? So I went to club, right? And I was looking into the literature, right? Best practices, because again, I guess the point is to go back to best practices, evidence based pedagogy, right? To focus on that. And this has been around from the 50s. Of course, they didn't have computers, but they had this device. You have the TV, you watch a video, they have a pre-exam, a pre-test, a post-test. In between, you have students just watching the video, watching the whatever's on the TV, versus students that, the person, the instructor, stop the video and say, okay, what do you think about this? What did they say? Whatever. And of course, there's some more engaged, everything we know. It's nothing new. Probably you all know. Anyway, there's a long history of this. It's not new. So we do know things that work. We have been knowing them for years and years. So we do have to care about, academic dishonesty, right? We have to be aware of that. We have to discuss it with students, everything. But I guess that comes after. The first thing is to focus, thinking, right? What are my learning objectives? How can I assess those learning objectives? And then you plan what you want to do, right? No, this is my syllabus. I teach this, and I see how I assess the students. So then you go, right? It's impossible. I don't know. It's very anyway. So, but the evidence-based pedagogy behind this has to do with the things that make mostly two things: universal design for learning. I want to cover time how.
You have
Then
5 more minutes to talk and then Q&A or what
Okay.
would you like?
So we'll summarize this. So this started in the 80s, right? The idea of developing technologies that will assist students with disabilities. And then the research showed that, whatever you do for helping a small group of students with disabilities will help everyone, right? So that's the basis of that. It has to do with the gauge, the little brains point to the areas of the brain that deal with that. So because we mostly with, the limbic system, emotions, you have how you engage the students, right? Not all students are engaged in the same ways. You have to try different ways to bring them into conversation. Different ways or multiple ways to representation to do how you ask the questions, the type of questions you ask, etc., etc. And then multiple means of expression has to do, an actual person has to do with how they show what they know or what they have learned, right? So basically, covering all ways that you can to bring them into the game, to express themselves and to show you what they know, right? That's I oversimplify because, so that's one thing. The videos, it's not just the videos, but also other things that I do that I'm going to show you later, kind of cover these 3 areas, right? You have the cognitive engagement, they can fast forward, they can watch it again, etc., etc. You see the video, you hear it, you have the captions, so you have different options in there, and then they have different types of different questions. So some people are better multiple choice, some are short answer, but that's sort of the idea, right? Second thing, very quickly, again, going back to the pedagogy or evidence-based pedagogy, is a flipped classroom model. Typically, what we do, and I still do it, some, many aspects, but I'm trying to move away. It's, the traditional, students do the reading, right? Prepare for class sometimes. Then you lecture, right? That's when they gain the first approach. And then you give the assessment, they are their own. That's it, right? And then you give them a grade, right? The flipped model has to do with flipping that order. Before the class, students gain first exposure to the material, right? They in this case watch the videos. Before or at the start of the class, they complete the assignment, right? And then during the class, we discuss it. See, very, very simple. You have all the links in there, and at the end, I also have the link. So what I did this semester is I asked this, I do this always. I asked them, well, how did, let me rewind. This is a very small sample size, right? How I have here 11 students, so don't take it as it's not to be published, but just, this is as far as I got. how much each one of the following items had your learning in this class. So you see the Google Slides, these are my class note, regular quizzes, video exams, worksheets, other tutoring, in-person tutoring online, studying with someone, ChatGPT, TikTok, YouTube, Google, search, textbook, all of it. Did not use is in blue, much help, some help. I put on top the ones that are more beyond. Much help or some help. The other ones, there's a little bit of everything. But that makes also the point of UDL, right? I use worksheets, video quizzes, regular quizzes, different, try to get them from different elements. And this is sort of okay. And for now, it's sort of okay. Look, video exams, this is 6 students, much help, 5 some help. So all of them find me helpful. There's no one saying no help, helpful is not you. By the way, it's and the video quizzes, this is the formative, is even better. There's more of much help and less, but still all of them found much or some help. Right? So that's what I got. I have 2 more minutes. Last slide. I also asked them why, right? They can give me some sort of feedback, right? And it looks like I wrote it, but I swear I didn't write it. The video quizzes and video exams are a good access to learning. I mean, this is literal, right? Access to learning the material for me. It helped me understand the concept better. I would even attempt them. I would encourage that you keep it that way for the future classes. I swear, I can show you. I didn't write. I wish that when a question pops up, you could go back a few seconds to rewatch it in case you miss important information. Because in the quizzes, I give them that chance, but in the exam, I don't. In the practice quizzes, they can go back, whatever they want. But in the exam, no, you have the time, you watch it here because they had a video before, right? So I take notes because this is going to count on the exam. So, that's what I say. Now those are great because, like I said, you have your comments, and then I score a code, right? So the ones that were much help and great help. Quizzes were challenging. We help if some of the questions were condensed. I guess they mean less questions. Why? Because another one say way too many questions, right? So, and I think that's all. So hopefully we can feel like, again, when I did this, and I was thinking, well, this looks like we want to beat AI. No, it's not the concept. So then I went back and I fixed it, and I thought that maybe it's about doing assessments that independent of AI, right? They work with or without AI. Right. So, right on time. You have the. Well, now you cannot do it, but I move this away. You can get the PDF of this and the reference, right? Questions, comments, suggestions. Actually, I prefer suggestions. Yeah.
So I like the idea of using the videos, but one other thing that I've heard now, I can't recall if we've already debunked like Bloom's taxonomy. I feel like we have. I don't know. I feel like it was debunked as a pyramid, and now we've just were like, oh, it's a circle or something. But we know one of the greatest ways to prove if you've learned something, if your students have learned something, is create, analyze, apply. So here's the thing. TikTok is brain rot, right? We can all agree to that. But you know what TikTok is? It's short form videos.
It's reinforced them.
So what if you told your students this is their video quiz, but instead of them watching a video, they're making a video, and it's 90 seconds, which means they've got to know their stuff to get it all packed in the 90 seconds. And they don't know yet what their topic is until like that day of the quiz. So theoretically, you've got 10 or 15 things that you covered in that unit or something, but they don't know which one they've got to do a short form video on. So you tell them on quiz day, okay, well, alphabet, last names A through J, this is what you're doing. And you have like an hour or two to do this short form video. Even if they use AI to look that up, even if they don't know it, they're still going to have to do that video over and over again to get it right. So we trick them into learning. Because the more they do it over and over, oops, they accidentally learned what they were trying to not have to
But
learn.
that's the point, to design as a way for,
Yeah.
to forcing them to learn, to, go over that they can, yeah.
And that kind of leans into the UDL too.
I just wanted to say, I really like how you deliver the videos with the quick questions. Where I've seen studies that have shown that if you have questions that take a lot of processing to figure out if you have the right answer, it slows down the learning.
Right.
But if it's just if you know it and then it's obvious, those type of questions, they move it along very quickly, but it demonstrates their interaction with the material. It's perfect.
Right. Yeah, because I try some actually the last one is kind of long, and I said, but I'm crossing the line of, boredness, right? It's boring already. So that's what I shorten it, right? Before you ask questions, I was looking, I'm using Yuja, right? Yuja, I understand that Rupin has in Lehman, his forum, and I don't know how about John Jay. Anyone who John Jay that knows? No. Well, you ask your IT or LDM person. And then Edpuzzle has also the ability for you to work on this if you want. Up to 20 videos is for free. May have to pay. But to experiment, right? Experiment initially, and then you can go and bother your IT or learning management system person in your campus. With video, I couldn't find the price. It's expensive, very classified. But I noticed that just recently YouTube added a feature that you can upload your videos and you can do up to 10 questions, everything for free. The only tricky thing is that if you want to do some, know who did and who didn't, you have to know the name of the student. I mean, the name they use in their account of the Google account. But I don't see a privacy issue there because it's just, when you go to the stats of Google, you see that someone did or not. I don't know. But sorry, questions.
I just want to say an answer to the suggestion is that can be something similar when I teach like an affiliate physiology for the last class, like vision twins, they have to come up in the dance. And there are people that are comfortable making the little short dance, sessing or like the was doing kind of mess. But some people are not as comfortable. So that part may need some work, or maybe have people working in group and there's someone that is comfortable doing creating the videos, because that's the technical apps for some of them. Yep. But they'll be. I had people dancing in class.
If they were in 8-second AI videos, you need to make an animation.
Again, it's it depends on how comfortable people are with their with the technology. So there should be at least one person in the group that is comfortable doing this thing. So that hey, it's on your phone. Just upload it on guys, guess in the moment. So it's okay. But a lot of that actually just just did it, and that was literally just your phone. But they really enjoy it because it was. They repeated a lot, but in theoretically, it was a very strong assignment. Right.
But yeah.
I think the overarching ideas of this formative assessment, how crucial it is, really takes away so much anxiety.
That's an excellent point, cheating.
Right? Whether you're using this for a class predominantly online or predominantly in person, whether you're somewhat of a, the weight that your image the assignment could vary, but if you're really giving that to rating the subject your things like you're doing these and saying heads of grade you want, how it's formative assessments. You might see that this semester everyone's getting it in the first attempt. It's a little different that people are really doing it over again because they're actually learning it. That might say something, but they're maybe less likely to use something that seems inappropriate. It counts us, and if there's no point with you, so that you will work.
So that's right. So if you're thinking, a way to make it sort of counterproductive, right? You could use AI, right? So then they were not going to use it. But you can, of course, I'm not saying don't use it. You can design an assessment where they can use AI, and in that case, it's productive. So they'll go for it. But I said, but to look at the big picture of assessment, not AI for the edge. That's for me, that's not the issue.